What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping the week's nerdy news from the Sunderland Corporation to Center City and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me, as always, is Steve Howler. What's up, Steve?
Well, finally got a chance because everyone was away this weekend to catch up on some reading, so it's been a good weekend.
Ooh, nice. Can't wait to talk about that when we get to comic books.
Oh, yeah.
Got some reading done. I got a little bit of reading done, not anything new, but I guess we'll talk about that later. There's a big teaser for later on in the episode. Do you think anyone's favorite part of this podcast is when we talk about what we've read? I feel like that's probably...
There might be like a person and we don't know them. It's like some random listener that's like,
yeah,
oh yeah, okay.
I feel like people are like, I usually tune out when they talk about what they've read after they go over the movies and TV and actual comic announcements. Then I'm like, I don't care what you guys read. I don't care about one-shots. So Steve, last week, a week ago tonight, we did a regular episode. And then a day or two later, we did another episode, a bonus. You got a bonus episode, listeners, watchers, last week. And that bonus episode was all about the DC universe and their new slate. James Gunn announced the new slate for the DC universe. And we talked about it for hour and 15 minutes or so. If you haven't heard any of that information, you should go back and listen to that episode. Because, Steve, you sent me a screenshot of our numbers, and apparently that one was way up.
People seem to want to hear about the James Gunn news. Go figure.
Yeah. Way up. So if any of you people that listened to that last episode are listening to this one, thank you for listening and thank you for sticking around. Thank you for coming back. And that goes the same if anyone's watching us on Twitch, everyone's watching us on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining us and listening to us. Also, you may remember, listeners, watchers, Steve, you may remember that on that episode where we talked about the James Gunn announcements, we said probably won't have a whole lot of DC news next week. Not really thinking that there's going to be much because they just announced everything. Well, guess what? We got some. We were wrong. We got one piece of actual news and a few bits of what I refer to as the DC announcement fallout, just kind of like some scraps either that we missed that were talked about or things that have come out after the fact. And we're going to run through those right now. So apparently, I believe this was something that happened during... the initial, not the initial announcement, but like when he talked to the press the day before the public announcement, this is something that was asked, that he was asked about and that he clarified. And we talked about on our recap episode, we talked about Superman and Lois, the show that originally aired on the CWs, now is on HBO Max. I think it's still on the CW also, but I think they're slowly kind of turning it into an HBO Max original because I think CW is getting bought or turned into something else. And as you and I talked about, we've heard that Superman and Lois is a very popular show for HBO Max, one of the most watched series that they have on that streaming service, which is crazy. I've seen the first season and a half or so. It's very good. I need to catch up. I just kind of fell out of watching it. I got to get back into it. It's really good. I like it a lot. And we assumed that was going to get canceled, I guess, because all the other CW shows have been canceled. But apparently that's not the case. It's going to fold into the DC Elseworlds banner. We spoke about anything that's not under their mainline continuity is going to be branded as a DC Elseworlds story. And James Gunn clarified that Superman and Lois will continue for a few more seasons. I think he said 1 or 2 more seasons. He said, quote, "It's a show that everybody likes, so it's going to keep going for a little bit." And I'm all down with that. The more Superman you can give me. Because, like, I guess we got to wait 2 years for the Superman movie. So you got to have some kind of Superman content out there. You want to, like, keep the vibe going. And so when that show ends, be like, oh, well, if you missed that show, here's a brand new Superman for you. Go see this movie and continue your love of Superman. So that's cool. Yeah, I'm glad we got some clarification on that. Speaking of clarification, he also... he being James Gunn clarified a comment he made about the Flash resetting the entire DCU. Somebody asked him online if it was a full 100% reboot, meaning that his DCU going to be a full reboot. Something he hasn't specifically commented on. And he said, nope. Flash resets many things, but not all things. Some characters remain the same, some do not. I think we were kind of understanding that to be the case. It seemed like, I mean, if he's announcing Amanda Waller, the Amanda Waller series and Viola Davis is coming back, then that's clearly not every character is changing.
You mean EGOT winner Viola Davis?
Yeah, I just saw that she's an EGOT person. Yeah. What did she win? Was the Grammy?
She won a Grammy tonight, and I have no idea for what.
Grammys are recorded stuff. I didn't know that she was.
Yeah. No,
it's recorded anything.
It boggled my mind, but I saw it all over the socials as that she was an EGOT, which really.
I saw that too, but I also did not investigate in any way. For those of you who may not know, an EGOT is EGOT. It stands for people who have won an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. It's a very select group of people that have won all 4 of those awards, and tonight Viola Davis became an EGOT winner or person. I don't know what she's won anything for. I think, what did she win her Oscar for? Help? Was that movie she was in?
Maybe. Yeah. No, even vamping doesn't. Oh, there we go. Fences.
Fences.
Oscar for Fences. Right. Primetime Emmy for How to Get Away with Murder.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that show.
Grammy for Finding Me, audiobook narration.
Oh, wow.
Right. And the Tony for 2 Tonys, one for King Hedley II and one for Fences.
Oh, damn.
So, yeah.
Wow, so you can just read a book and then get an award for it, huh?
And that she did.
Good for her. Congratulations, Amanda Waller.
So they rolled that into the Best Spoken Word album.
Oh,
was changed to Best Audiobook Narration and Storytelling Recording.
Interesting. Guess not as many people are putting out spoken word records as they used to, I guess.
Carrie Fisher has won one in 2018.
Carrie Fisher? Oh.
Yep.
For what, like a book that she read?
The Princess Diarist.
Oh, I have that book, and I have not read it.
Her memoir.
Yep. I should read it. Okay, what else do we... I thought this was very interesting. Not James Gunn, but his partner in the DCU, Peter Safran, producer extraordinaire, came out defending Warner Brothers' decision to cancel Batgirl. Whoa. I'm about to read a quote from him that kind of, I don't know, it shed a little bit of a different light on the movie. And I guess I hadn't heard any insider really talk about it like this, but he said the following. Batgirl is a character that inevitably we will include in our story. Right away, that's awesome. Love it. Great to hear. He goes on to say, I saw the movie, and there are a lot of incredibly talented people in front of and behind the camera on that film. But that film was not releasable. And it happens sometimes. That film was not releasable. Says it twice. He goes on to say, I actually think that Zaslav, meaning David Zaslav, head of Warner Brothers, and the team made a very bold and courageous decision to cancel it because it would have hurt DC. It would have hurt those people involved. So, wow. He twice in the same quote, he says that film was not releasable. That makes me think it was bad. It was just a bad movie, I guess. I mean, everything I've seen from it, I've seen behind the scenes stuff. I've seen like photos and it all looked super cool. But I mean, cool looking stuff doesn't necessarily make a good movie. This is the first time I've seen somebody from Warner Brothers come out and kind of say without saying this was too bad. This was a bad movie. We couldn't release this movie because it was bad. And I don't know. I mean, I guess I still don't know if it's true. We're never going to know if it's true because we're never going to see Batgirl, which is still a bummer. I still would have rather had seen a bad Batgirl movie than no Batgirl movie, I guess. But,
fair.
He's still talking about Batgirl's going to be included in the story. Maybe we'll get a Batgirl movie down the line. Maybe it will be Leslie Grace still. That'd be cool. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Last but not least, this isn't really a quote, and I almost included this in the comic section of the show, but we got something else to talk about when we get down to there. After the announcement of the DC slate, and I think it's partially because James Gunn's openly talking about comics that these movies are kind of inspired by, or the stories that are inspired that they're taking inspiration from. In the case of the Supergirl movie, they're directly adapting a series, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Amazon, at first, like a day or two after, like the top 3 selling books on Amazon were Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, Grant Morrison's Batman Omnibus, and the All-Star Superman graphic novel. Those were the top 3 selling books on Amazon the day after. And now it's been reported that Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, Grant Morrison's Batman Omnibus Volume 1, and collections of The Authority have all sold out on Amazon. So much so that James Gunn didn't have to, but he tweeted something about, I have spoken to Jim Lee, who is executive over at DC Comics.
Still weird every time I hear that, for the record.
I know, right?
Like, it's just, to me, he's still writing the X-Men, so.
To me, he's still drawing Batman.
Right.
But I know that he was with Marvel before he was with DC, but.
Hey, we won one.
Yeah, he is.
Or ultimately lost it, I guess.
I guess, yeah. But yeah, he has climbed the corporate ladder.
Yeah, very much
sure.
so.
But James Gunn tweeted something. I've spoken to Jim Lee about the selling out of the books, and he assures me that they're on it and they're publishing more volumes, and they're going to make more copies available for people that may want to read these books. And I am one of them, because I started collecting Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, but like I mentioned in the recap episode, I fell off of it, so I haven't read the entire story. I would love to, so I really want to get a collected edition of that. I do want to dive into more of Grant Morrison's Batman. I've read some of it. I have a collection. I just would like I don't know, the follow-up, I guess, from the one that I have, so I can kind of keep going. And I'd love to read more of The Authority, because I'm so very not familiar with that. As I mentioned, I want to reread All-Star Superman, so please restock these. I also we were talking a little bit before we went live here about how we saw some screenshots of the single issues of either these books or issues of these characters that James Gunn has talked about inspiring the films. The issues are now spiking in price, basically.
Yeah.
In worth, I should say. I saw my issue number 1 of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which I own, apparently is now, when I bought it for $3, $4, is now a $40 book on Amazon.
Huh.
So that's pretty good, I think. And there's also other, like, not even mint condition versions of Swamp Thing's first appearance are now going for over $1,000 on eBay. So I have to see what old Swamp Thing issues I have. Or Booster Gold is another one that's like kind of climbing in value.
Right.
All these like lower level characters that are starting to shoot up. So we shall see what happens. But yeah, I hope that they restock those, because I want to buy them. And speaking of Swamp Thing, excuse me, just got to take a drink. We have an actual piece of news regarding Swamp Thing. You may recall in the DC announcement, Swamp Thing was the kind of the one that they had the least information about. They talked about the least. They said, we're doing a Swamp Thing movie. It's going to be a dark horror film about the character's origins. And goodbye. That was kind of it.
Wait, dark horror?
Yeah. Isn't
Weird.
that great?
Never would have expected. Wait, a dark film about a superhero. I wonder who could possibly be the director on this.
That would probably be R-rated. It would probably be an R-rated
Yep.
superhero movie. There's not a ton of those. There's like maybe
non-Deadpool versions.
There's 2 Deadpools. There's the Suicide Squad.
Yep.
There is Birds of Prey.
Yep.
And
none of those would qualify as horror or dark.
No. What's like a darker R-rated superhero movie?
I can't quite sink my claws into it.
That should have been nominated for Best Picture. It makes me cry every time I watch it. So I only have seen it twice, because I love it and I own it, but I won't watch it because it's devastating.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Logan. That's right. Logan. James Mangold, director of Logan, director of The Wolverine, and director of the upcoming Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is in talks currently, closing a deal, according to the Hollywood Reporter, closing a deal to direct Swamp Thing for DC Studios. Mangold is apparently a big fan of the character and is close to closing a deal to direct a Swamp Thing movie. Apparently, the day, I missed this, but the day of the announcement, Mangold tweeted a picture of Swamp Thing. So these conversations have been going on for a little bit. And then James Gunn retweeted that picture of Swamp Thing, tweeted by James Mangold. And I guess that was enough for the Hollywood Reporter to start investigating, and now has broken this story. Apparently, Mangold's next project after Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is going to be a Bob Dylan biopic for Paramount, which I'm all about. And following that, it's possible that his next project after the Bob Dylan thing would be Swamp Thing. So, I mean, we know we're like years out from any of this stuff. We're 2 years away from a Superman movie. And everything else is two or more years away.
Right.
So he certainly has time to make a Bob Dylan biopic while whoever is going to write this movie is writing it, and then he can come on board and do it. So, Steve, what do you think of James Mangold taking on Swamp Thing?
Well, if past is precedent, I'm all in.
Yeah.
You know, for all the stupidity of, and I think we've been over this before, like with the Wolverine, for all the stupidity that happened with the first one. The second one was a much better film. And
the second one does not get enough credit. The Wolverine is a good movie. That is a really good movie. Like, it gets a little CGI heavy.
Yeah, it doesn't
towards
quite
the
hold
end,
up
but like
as much as it could, but it's definitely like,
I don't know.
It's worth watching.
I feel the same complaint I hear about the Wolverine is the same complaint I hear about Wonder Woman is like the third act falls apart, or like the third act is just, it turns into like a CGI superhero fight. It's like, well, what do you expect? It's a superhero movie. Like, what do you expect the third act to be? Of course, that's going to be the big fight. So, like,
well, and it was also a superhero movie before it became like completely mainstream to have superhero movies where you could do something different if you wanted to. Back then, it was like, you have Wolverine. He's going to cut things.
Yeah, he's going to fight the bad guy. And the bad guy happens to be the Silver Samurai, and it's a giant CGI samurai. But, like, what? That's fine. Otherwise, what? He's going to be fighting... Like, the other trope of superhero movies is, like, they end up fighting an evil version of themselves or whatever. Right. Like, Iron Man just fights an evil guy in an Iron Man suit. You know what I mean? Like, that happens all the time. And so, like, so what? He's going to fight Sabretooth, and it's going to be boring? It's like, give him, like...
in comics, too.
Right, exactly. But, like, give him a threat, you know? Like, give him something that can take him out. Give him a big CGI. And that's the same thing with Wonder Woman, too. It's just like, well, at the end, it just became a big CGI fight. It's like, well, Wonder Woman has, like, Superman-ish powers. Like, you want to see her use those things, so you got to give her, like, a big, scary thing to fight. Otherwise, you're just, what are we doing here?
But it's also not a trope. Like, we just mentioned how much we love Mangold's other offering, Logan, which the culmination was literally him fighting himself.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, that's true.
That was the actual end of the movie.
The most literal version of that trope is in Logan, which is one of the best superhero movies ever made. Yeah, you're right. So there's ways to do it that work. Yeah, I don't know.
Right, just make a movie that doesn't suck. That's all we're asking.
Exactly. It's like James Gunn said, it's not superhero movie fatigue, it's bad movie fatigue.
Right.
You're right, Steve.
Yeah.
You're right. So yeah, go watch The Wolverine if you haven't watched The Wolverine. It's very good. Even if you don't like the third act, the first two acts are wonderful.
Yeah, and for all of whatever, you know, your thoughts are on Frank Miller, that it's based off that 1982, like the original run, and that was a great run of comics. Yeah, most of which I had right over there.
Nice. And that's another reason that it's cool, because it puts him in a completely different environment than you've ever seen him before. There's no X-Men. There's no, like, Xavier's Institute. It's just he's in Japan. Yeah. And it's wild. It's great. I should watch that again.
You've actually convinced me to go watch it again now.
Yeah. We should do a commentary for it. Every once in a while, you and I talk about recording a commentary for a movie. I think that would be fun. I don't think anyone would listen to it or do it.
But that would be amazing.
It'd be fun for me and you to do, at least.
Yeah, dude. Just I'll bring the mixer over. We'll just plug it in, run a couple of mics to it, call it a day.
That'd be great.
MST3K to shit.
Yeah, hell yeah. Cool. So I'm very excited about James Mangold doing Swamp Thing. I think it was the day of the James Gunn announcement that I had this weird epiphany that I thought, oh my God, if they ever make a Swamp Thing movie, they should get Guillermo del Toro to direct it. That would be the greatest thing. Right? Like your face when I said that just like lit up like a light bulb.
Like
you're like, what? Oh like, man, that'd be great.
I'm hit or miss on Guillermo del Toro in general, but like that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in. Or I would have been in.
I would have been in also, but I also take James Mangold. He's a great writer. He's a great director. I think he also did Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash biopic. So I could be wrong.
Well, it might be why he's got tabbed for the Dylan one.
But if I'm right, then yeah, the Dylan one's going to be good.
He did Ford versus Ferrari. Yep, he did Walk the Line.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot he did Ford versus Ferrari, too. So, yeah, this guy's a good filmmaker. And if this is any indication of the level of creators that they're going after for these movies, then this is a really good sign. You know what I mean? Like, if James Gunn is going to end up directing a Superman movie, then you get James Mangold to do a Swamp Thing movie, like, this is like it's a really good sign. Like, you're going for top tier talent, and I hope it continues that way. You just read something that you want to read. I saw it in your face.
I'm confirming. Okay, things I did not expect. James Mangold wrote the screenplay for Oliver and Company. I don't know if you remember that 1988 animated Disney movie.
You know I do.
Yeah. So apparently he wrote the screenplay or co-wrote the screenplay for it.
Wild.
Yeah. Hitting the deep cuts here. Because I'm pretty sure there's a good number of our listeners that are like, what the hell movie is that?
What are you talking
Actually,
about?
no. I'm pretty sure most of our listeners are our age and actually would understand that reference.
Yeah, probably. That's very interesting. Wow, he's been in the biz a long time then. Good for him. Good job, James Mangold. I'm excited that he's doing Swamp Thing. I like I just said, I'm excited that they're going after like somebody, even if he doesn't end up doing it, which I feel like if THR is reporting it, then he probably is going to end up doing it. But the fact that they're even going after this level of filmmaker is exciting to me. And that someone like James Mangold, because it's a weird situation that these creators are being asked to walk into where it's like, yeah, we want you to make a movie, but also I'm James Gunn. I know that I'm also just a writer director, but if you're doing something I don't like, I'm going to tell you to change it. Mm-hmm. Is that cool? You know, like it's weird. It's got to be weird for filmmakers to be taking notes from not studio people. I guess James Gunn is a studio person now, but he's also just like another writer director.
Right.
So it's got to be weird for them to be taking notes from another writer director. I don't know. It's just strange, I guess. But hopefully he's offering enough freedom to attract big names like this, and they can really get some like auteur filmmakers in.
Yeah.
To, you know, he talked about like letting them writers and directors like express their vision and stuff and not worrying about, you know, like the fun of getting everything to fit together later on is like part of the challenge. So like I think that'll bode well. Anyway.
Yeah.
Enough DC stuff.
I was going to say, I'd say we move from some strange in the DC universe to some strange in a very different way for the Marvel universe.
Yeah. Let's talk about some Marvel stuff, or at least one Marvel thing.
Yeah.
This is weird. So we all know, like, there's the new Ant-Man movie's coming out in a couple weeks. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
They released a trailer for it, and it was a good trailer, and we talked about it. And one thing they showed in the trailer was Scott Lang on a press tour for his memoirs.
For a book that he has written.
Right.
Yes. He's an author, apparently.
Yep. So titled "Look Out for the Little Guy" was the...
Yes. The name of the book in
the
trailer.
Fitting book. And did you ever think that a fictional biography or memoir by a Marvel superhero would end up crossing your Amazon wish list?
No.
Because it can now.
No. It can now. Currently, the in-universe book, Look Out for the Little Guy, from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, is now available for pre-order. A real-life book. You'll be able to really own a copy of this book.
For $26.99, you can order a hardcover version of Look Out for the Little Guy.
$26.99.
Yep.
Wow. Written by quote unquote Scott Lang. I'm sure it was not written by the fictional character, and I'm sure it was not written by Paul Rudd either. Available for pre-order. This is weird. Well, the most confounding thing about this for me, I get this is like a cool like marketing thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right, for the movie.
Yep. Which you would have thought would come out in conjunction with the movie.
Weirdest thing about this, yes, Steve, is that the movie comes out on February 17th. The book comes out on September 5th. What?
Yeah. No idea.
They're just like, they just want people to pre-order it now, I guess, while they're excited for the movie. But it doesn't come out till September 5th? Steve?
You would think hype
I don't know what you
would die at that point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know what happens in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, but I can't imagine anyone really caring about it this much by September 5th. You know what I mean?
No.
I don't know. I mean, not to like shit on out of their stuff Marvel has coming out or anything, but like personally, I can't imagine ever reading this book. Like, this doesn't seem like anything I would ever want to read. If you're a huge Marvel fan, you want to put it on your shelf as like a part of your collection or something, like I get that. But like, what is this? What is even going to be in this book?
I don't know.
Like, what is this?
Like, I was looking for tie-ins or anything along those lines, and it's like Guardians is out in May, Secret Invasion's out sometime before that. Like,
so there's going to be at least 2 to 3 other Marvel projects before this book even comes out.
Loki will be before that.
Yeah.
The Marvels will be before that.
So many other things.
It's like Ironheart and X-Men 97 are what's on the Fall 23 slate.
So people are going to order this book and get it in September and then be like, oh, right, I remember this movie that now is in the past.
Yeah.
I know.
Yep.
This is the synopsis of the book. I just pulled it up. This is the official synopsis. Or this description. In Look Out for the Little Guys, Scott Lang shares with the world a bracingly honest account of his struggles and triumphs from serving time to being a divorced dad to becoming Ant-Man and joining the Avengers. These are stories of epic battles won and lost as this everyman turned superhero finally tells all, from the official account of what really happened between the Avengers and Thanos to how shrinking down to ant size really feels and the challenges of balancing the roles of heroes and dad. Not done yet. Across his many adventures, big and small, Scott has gathered the wisdom of countless amazing experiences into this, the first memoir from a real-life Avenger. Once you learn the unforgettable details of his epic journey, you won't need to be reminded to look out for the little guy.
Wow.
So that's all like fun, but he's not a real person.
Right. Yeah, I think that was... I don't even know what to think of that.
I know.
Like, as someone who buys many Marvel things, that will not be one of them.
Yeah, this isn't the first time that like a show or a movie has published an in-universe book. Like I remember, like I really like that show Veep. You ever watched Veep?
Yep.
It's so funny. It's one of the funniest shows I've ever seen in my entire life.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus playing the same character she does in every show, but making it work.
Yeah, and just being, vice president of the United States,
right.
But just still a complete asshole. It's just so funny. Selena Meyer, her character in that show, wrote a book, and my friend of mine owns a copy of that actual book, and he has read it, and he says it's very funny, and like, and I'm sure it's very funny. If it's written by the people that wrote the show, I'm sure it's funny, but like, I still have no desire to read that book, even though it's from a show that one of my favorite shows ever.
Right.
I'm not going to read that. I'm sorry.
Well, and this will be the same thing. I mean, it's going to be a funny read, probably.
Sure, I hope.
I don't know. Doesn't really.
But
I got enough. I have a big enough stack of other shit I haven't read.
Yeah, I would rather read actual adventures of Ant-Man in comic book form than read this book. Like, I want to read about Ant-Man. I'll just read about Ant-Man. I don't need to read a fictional biography of him.
I have J.R.R. Tolkien's The Fall of Numenor up there. It's probably dry as a popcorn fart, but I'd rather read that over anything else.
All right.
And now I've broken
hey, if you're listening or watching to this and you were like super excited for the Ant-Man book, then we're sorry that we just shit all over that idea.
Then let us know what you thought of it.
Let us, if you buy it and you get it on September 6th, assuming that you get it on September 5th and you completely read it in 24 hours, let us know. We will look out for an influx of emails and direct messages on your thoughts on the Ant-Man book.
By the time this comes out, by the time this comes out, we're going to forget we said this.
Yeah, we'll be like, why are these people talking about Ant-Man? We're just kidding. No one's actually going to read that book or talk to us about it.
Oh, God.
I would be really interested to see. We should set a reminder to see what the actual sales of this book are.
Yeah.
Like, how many people actually ordered this book? Is it anybody? What is going on? We should try to remember to do that.
In all honesty, I may actually. I'll put something in my calendar that just says Ant-Man for September 5th. Be like,
Ant-Man book. Yeah. Yeah. Hey Siri, remind me to look up who bought the Ant-Man book.
Right.
In 10 months from now.
Oh boy.
Anyway, moving on.
We've just alienated a huge chunk of our fan base, I'm sure.
I don't know. Every once in a while, I say something really shitty about Marvel too, so I'm sure they might have already been mad at me. Hey, you Marvel people, I like Marvel. I like Marvel a lot. Steve loves Marvel. If you're mad at me, just keep loving Steve. You don't have to stop listening to the show. You can be like, I listen for Steve, but that Mike guy talks too much. That's probably true anyway. Moving on into a galaxy far, far away. This is not really a story, but Steve and I like talking about Star Wars, so,
There we go.
And there's been a few instances in recent weeks where we have mentioned one Daisy Ridley, either giving quotes about her opinions on the twists and turns of her character Rey's story throughout the sequel trilogy, or that she had lunch at Lucasfilm not too long ago, wondering what that could possibly have been about. She was asked of whether or not she would ever return to Star Wars or do another movie or reprise the role of Rey in any way. And she said the following. Honestly, I have no idea. I feel like Rey's story ended in a wonderful way with the last film. Debatable. It's already been an insane 3 years since that film came out. I feel like quite a different person. I feel like I should be reading this in an English accent or it won't make sense. I feel like quite a different person. We've all gone through a massive change in the last 3 years with lots of crazy things happening. I think she's referencing the pandemic. So I really don't know if there are any plans. I just don't know. I loved my experience. I loved what I got to do, and I love the people I got to work with. So should that ever happen again, even once, amazing. Because the dream is to really be around nice people that make you feel good and feel heard while you do good work. So that's like the classic actor's non-answer.
Right. It's the actor equivalent of coach speak from any athletics. It's like you're saying something without saying it. Like anytime somebody asks you a question, you're like, yeah, I would do this, but maybe I won't, but maybe I will, but maybe I won't, but maybe I will, and I'd like to, but I can't, but I won't. It's like just keep throwing things at it and something will stick.
Yeah.
And
it's like
be completely non-committal.
It's like if someone asks whoever, any actor, would you ever want to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? They're like, yeah, sure, someday if the right story came along. I would like, yeah, of course you want to get paid millions of dollars to be in the highest grossing franchise of all time. Like, to stand in front of a green screen and we go, look out. Like, yeah, of course you want to do that. And I don't think Daisy, I love Daisy Ridley. I think she's a very talented actress and I love her as Rey and I've loved her in other things that I've seen her do. I don't think she's a big enough star to say no to Star Wars. If Star Wars comes back and wants her to do it, I think that she'll say yes. And I think we will get Rey again. And I think that she's saying I don't have any idea. I think she might have some idea. I think that somebody somewhere has been like, would you ever be interested if we were developing a new Star Wars thing with you?
I mean, she didn't have lunch at Skywalker Ranch to just talk to no one.
I know, right? Like, I think when we talked about her having lunch at Lucasfilm or whatever, it was like, sure, I'm sure, 60% of that lunch was non-Star Wars stuff, but there's no way you didn't talk about Star Wars at all during that lunch. There's 0% chance. So, like, she knows something. but she's being non-committal because she's either under contractual obligation to not say anything, or she does know something and it's not ready to be announced or whatever. She's playing the Hollywood game like actors like to do. I would love to see her back in really any capacity. I'll take more Ray in any way, shape, or form. And
yeah, I mean, for all the problems of the sequel trilogy, like the main cast was not one of them.
Casting was not an issue.
No,
not
casting
at all.
was great.
Yeah.
Like,
and even initial characterization, I don't think was a problem at all. Like,
no.
I think it went off the rails in the third one, even though I don't hate that film as much as I did a few weeks ago. We talked about my reawakening to being okay with Star Wars trilogy, sequel trilogy. But I just want more of her story. I think she's an interesting character, and I think she was maybe not handled as well as she could have been in the third one. But I think if you take that character as she stands now and move her forward, there's still a lot to get out of her as an actress and as a character.
Well, like you said, as your why you don't mind Rise of Skywalker as much as you did. That happened. Okay, what's next?
Yeah, exactly. I want to know what's next.
Right.
I want to know what's next.
And in all honesty, if they go into what's next, it'll probably help, because
for sure
you're not going to have decades upon decades of past stories that are, leaning on it. It's like you're in your own world.
You're starting a new thing.
That's why I'm excited about the Acolyte.
You give us a new story with existing characters that people already care about.
Yeah.
And regardless of the how anybody feels about any of the sequel movies, like, these characters are established for sure. So whether you're talking about Poe, Finn, Rey, BB-8, whoever, like, these characters are known to Star Wars fans, beloved by a lot of Star Wars fans, and I don't know, moving forward, and you're gonna find some success for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Also, quick shout out. Over the weekend I rewatched Solo, A Star Wars Story, and I still love that movie. So shout out to Solo. If you haven't seen it in a while, give it another shot. It's great, super fun, love it. I think there was another Star Wars thing that I was going to mention to you, Steve, and I'm trying to think of what it was. Oh, I read a short article that said Liam Neeson recently came out and said that he's done being Qui-Gon Jinn and has no plans to return to the Star Wars franchise as Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah, that just means they need to pay him more money when he inevitably
That's exactly
needs to
what
come
I
back.
thought too.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought.
Whenever you make that statement, again, much like the actors with the coach speak, that's the same thing as a player saying, like any sports player, like athlete saying, "I'm not going to re-sign with this team." Oh, they paid me more money. Okay, I'm re-signing with that team. Weird.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is a guy that did, he did voiceover for Clone Wars episodes and stuff as Qui-Gon. Like, you throw him some money, he'll show up, even if it's just a voice. You just really just need a Force voice in Obi-Wan's head or whoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, this is the guy that's done 3 Taken movies and a television show. Like,
yeah, you give him some money, he'll be back. He'll be back. All right, moving on. I feel like we're flying through this week. This is like we talked about last week, how if it's a slower week, we take our time and we like kind of chit chat and digress and tangent. And now we're back to a week with a good amount of stories, and I feel like we're flying through, Steve.
Yeah. I mean, we're at 40 minutes already, so it does seem to be flying. But
never mind. Just to me, it feels like we're flying. Right. I guess. Thank you, dear listener, for sticking it out for 40 minutes so far. I feel like every 10 minutes I should thank the listener for listening, just to make sure that that they know they're appreciated still. Got a bit of a miscellaneous universe to touch on right now. Criminal, a long-running and very popular crime anthology comic series, is being developed as a series at Amazon Prime. Criminal, like I said, is a crime anthology series written by Ed Brubaker, famed comic writer Ed Brubaker, and famed comic artist Sean Phillips. This was a series that originally was published by Marvel under their Icon line, and eventually moved to Image Comics. I believe I have the first issue of their jump to Image, maybe the first 2 issues when they started coming out under Image. Very good. Like them very much. These crime anthology stories that take place in Center City, not Central City, Center City. They feature a different protagonist in each story. They're all like kind of interconnected, but it's a different character. Like it's, like I said a few times, it's an anthology, so it's a different story, but there's like kind of some reoccurring characters, but the main focus of each issue is on a different character. That's the series that's being adapted by Amazon Prime. Brubaker is going to serve as showrunner and executive producer of the series, which media outlet Deadline is describing as, quote, an interlocking universe of crime stories. So calling it a universe, I think, is a little bit big, considering that all the stories take place in the same city. But interlocking crime stories, I think, is accurate. And I'm very excited about this because I like when non-superhero comics get adapted, because it's easy to forget that comics are about more things than just superheroes and capes and tights and all that shit. So and even superpowers, like this is something that doesn't even revolve around powers at all. So I'm excited about this. Like, I feel like crime is a genre of comic that is underdeveloped, I guess. It's like kind of a lesser known one. Steve, did you ever read Criminal?
I did not. I heard about it.
Yeah.
Had it on the list of, the eternal list of things that should be on the radar.
Yeah. I hadn't heard of it until I heard the buzz that it was coming back at Image, that it had been a Marvel imprint thing. Yep. And then was moving to Image, and so I jumped on the first couple issues of it. And I thought it was really good. It was very intriguing, and it was cool to know that you're just getting, like, every story is a one shot. Like, you're just getting a one shot about this.
It was like the serialized
or something. Yeah, it's really cool, and I think it definitely works for a series. And as long as they do a good job in the marketing, making sure people know that it's an anthology series, that it's not going to be necessarily the same main character in episode 1 that you get in episode 2 or moving forward, but you'll probably see those characters reappear at the end. Mm-hmm. I feel like that would be a really satisfying season of television if they really kind of pull it off.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know, did DC ever do something like the Icon imprint? So that was kind of Marvel's...
I don't really know what the Icon imprint was.
That was Marvel's attempt to kind of keep creator-owned, or creator-driven stuff in-house.
Oh, cool.
So, they would have their main creators making the books they wanted to under that imprint rather than going to an indie type thing.
Sure. I would say probably Vertigo was kind of like that for DC. Yeah. I know now, DC just kind of
one of the Icon.
What's that?
Kick-Ass was one of the Icon imprints. Or
was
under
cool.
The Icon imprint.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Kick-Ass is a great book.
Oh yeah,
I have that first volume. That first collected edition is really good.
Nice.
The first movie is really good too. And I never saw the second one, but I like the first movie a lot too. I would say Vertigo, and I know a lot of times now DC just publishes creator-owned stuff under DC. Right. James Tinian's Nice House on the Lake is just a DC book, but it's like...
Oh, it is?
I'm pretty sure. Wow. And there's one, Tom King is doing one too that I think is just a DC book. But
nice.
I believe it used to be Vertigo. But yeah, pumped about Criminal. I would definitely watch that. Like I said, it's just cool to remember that non-superhero things can also be adapted and made into great stuff as well. Speaking of comics, oh boy, do we got a comic story for you guys tonight.
It's a thing.
I don't know if it's a breaking story, but it's either today or yesterday story.
I read I saw it this morning-ish on Twitter, and then my buddy reminded me right before we recorded, and I looked at the rundown. I'm like, oh, Mike's already got it on there. Okay.
Yep, I always look at CBR, comicbookresources.com, for any comics news when I'm looking at the rundown. And this really jumped out at me. It was an CBR claiming it as an exclusive story. I guess they broke this story somehow. You may remember, dear listener, dear watcher, and certainly Steve, I'm sure you remember because we spoke about it at length. that we talked about both of these things on the show. We talked about the announcement and the cancellation of a series at Marvel called Luke Cage, City of Fire. I remember we talked about when it was announced because it sounded cool as hell.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, I've never really collected Luke Cage books, but I am going to buy this because it sounds really awesome. Then it was canceled. Luke Cage, City of Fire was supposed to come out in like 2021, and it was canceled. It was a 3-issue miniseries that was canceled in like November of 2021. It's supposed to come out in like late 2021 or early 2022. It was like weeks away from debuting. I believe the series was nearly completed. It was only a 3-issue miniseries, and the 3rd issue was already half done. Like they had the first 2 issues completely done. 3rd issue was like 50% done.
Yep.
And it got canceled weeks out from its debut. And we never really heard why. Apparently, the writer, Ho-Chi Anderson, has said to CBR.com that why it was canceled. I guess I'll just read the quote. I guess we knew. I don't remember the exact description of the series when it was announced.
Right.
But it was made, to me, I think it was made clear that it was inspired by the murder of George Floyd in 2020 and like the civil unrest that came out of that, all the protests that came out of that. So anyway, the writer, Ho-Chi Anderson, says that Marvel basically sat him down and said, quote, "We're canceling this book. We're afraid that the subject matter is going to be damaging for you. We don't want you to be attacked by right-wing nuts." As soon as I read that quote, I thought, oh, they just don't want
They're covering their
brand they're covering themselves.
Yeah.
They don't want their brand to be hurt by right-wing nuts or whatever. They're scared of publishing this book. And then I kept reading, and he goes on to say that exact thing. He's saying he also guesses the higher-ups may have said that it was going to hurt their bottom line, and that's why they canceled it. And he went on to say, quote, "They were really worried that there was going to be some blowback with the Kyle Rittenhouse lovers of the world or whatever, so they chose to take the cautious route."
Yeah. Which
wow.
I don't know the Venn diagram of people who would buy a Luke Cage book and
also
Kyle Rittenhouse
support
nuts.
A murderer like Kyle Rittenhouse. Yeah.
I can't imagine it's all that much, but stuff like this also brings people out of the woodwork. So
yeah, it's not. I don't think it's that they would buy the books. It's that they would lead a charge on, how terrible Marvel is now or whatever. Like, Marvel's gone woke, boycott Marvel or whatever. But
yeah, they do that every other day.
Dumb shit like that. And I guess that was enough for Marvel to get scared and cancel the book.
Marvel, that published God Loves Man Kills in 1983, is somehow now worried about civil rights. Like, what?
Yeah, Red, White, and
Red, White, and Black.
Yeah.
Phenomenal run if anyone hasn't read that.
Yeah. So I don't get it, but this is wild. He goes on to describe the story, what the story of the book was. The story was inspired by the 2020 murder of George Floyd. An unarmed black man is murdered by a white police officer. But the premise of the book after that incident is what happens if the mother of the victim hires Luke Cage to protect her son's murderer. Wow. So it would be like in real life if the mother of George Floyd hired Luke Cage to protect Derek Chauvin or whatever his asshole's name was.
I think that sounds right.
From like, I mean, the creator doesn't, like, Anderson doesn't say this, but I assume that it would be a thing where the mother would not want like mob or vigilante justice to end this man's life the way that it ended the life of her son, and to like show grace and be the bigger person in even the most darkest, most terrible situations, and hire Luke Cage to protect the white man that illegally murdered her black son, unarmed son.
Which would have been, that story itself would have been crazy.
An incredible, like, think of the conflict that would put Luke Cage in. Like, what can you imagine a better conflict on every level for a character like Luke Cage to have to deal with? Like, oh my God. I feel like that would have been incredible.
Yeah. And all the the cover art also showed, Elektra as Daredevil and some other, the
Yes.
standard, because this would have been 2021 would have been post Zdarsky's original run where Elektra puts on the mask.
He said he got clearance from Marvel to use Elektra as Daredevil in the book. She was going to show up in the book. And the last super heartbreaking quote from Ho-Chi Anderson that I have here is the following. Quote, I felt like we had an opportunity to tell a story that had some real-world relevance. The fact that it got shut down so quickly told me unequivocally that is not what they want. They don't want that at all. They just want safe material. So if they hire me again, that's what I'll give them. I'll give them safe material. But it's a shame because I feel like we had an opportunity to tell a story that had some relevance, and they would have been on the right side of history for being strong enough to tell the story. So it's a missed opportunity. I will never do work for Marvel that is about anything other than the villain of the week wants to take over the world. End quote.
Yeah.
Wow. That is sad. That's a heartbreaking quote from a creator that had something really sound like powerful and just magic. It just sounds like it exists. It's almost
like
completely done. It's like there somewhere.
Luke Cage is that character that could fit perfectly in that situation.
He's the only character that could do this. The only character could tell this story. I can't think of one other character from comics that could be the center of this story.
No. And it would have been
maybe Misty Knight or something, but like Luke Cage is like the only like top tier, like only A-list
with
character
him being, straight up literally hero for hire. Like that was the subtitle of his books, like a set of his books.
Yeah. So, I never know who's listening to this, and I don't think anyone that works at Marvel is listening to it, but I just have to say, whoever canceled this book is a coward. Yeah. Whoever decided to cancel this book is an absolute coward and should be ashamed of themselves.
Well, and I guess that's the other thing is you can't even, the story can't even be told because it would have been like, it's not like he can take his idea to an indie and just roll with it because
it's
like
centered
Luke
on
Cage
Luke
or
Cage,
Power Man is like the centerpiece of it. So yeah. So that's unfortunate.
Cowards, Marvel. You're cowards.
Though, I wouldn't see anything different across the aisle or at maybe even some of the big indies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I would
love to say they would. Like,
it would be cool as fuck if after this story broke out, DC calls Ho-Chi Anderson and goes, "Yo, write the same story. John Stewart, Green Lantern is your guy.
There you go.
But just write the same story."
Yeah,
that would be, or Static Shock.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It would be different because those characters aren't necessarily like Luke Cage is like a neighborhood guy, you know what I mean?
Right.
And
like that's
got,
the
like,
whole
strength powers, but he doesn't have like otherworldly weird powers. But like I think the story could still work. It would be different. It would be different than the original intention, but I would love to see that. Even if it wasn't indie, like like Image calling him or Boom or calling and be like, "Yo, just create your own character. We'll give you 6 issues instead of 3. So you can create your own character, build it up, and tell the same story.
Right.
Go." I'm sure he's under some kind of contract with Marvel where he can't replicate it. Can't replicate it at all. But that would be great. Anyway, to what could have been. That is a bummer.
Well, now we're going to talk about what is.
What is and what will be this Wednesday at your local comic book store. You're getting the following: Alien number 6, Amazing Spider-Man number 19, Avengers War Across Time number 2, Batman number 132, Bishop War College number 1. I think that's a really strange name for a book.
I'm going to Google that one right now, actually.
I assume that it's the X-Man Bishop.
That's what I'm thinking, but
War College is a really weird name for a book, and it doesn't.
Oh no,
it seems to not make sense.
It's a Marvel joint, and that's definitely Bishop.
Is he teaching at War College? Is he attending War College? What is going on at War College?
The line is the all-new, all-great X-Men debut. Krakoa is an island paradise, and it's a vulnerable one, but now with Lucas Bishop on the case. Armor, Surge, Cam Long, Aura Charles, Amass are all his students, and their course objective is to get strong, defend the island, keep mutant kind safe.
Okay, so he's teaching.
What does any of that have to do with an all-black X-Men team? Find out here. Celebrated TV writer Jay Holtman, Cloak and Dagger and Jessica Jones, joins forces with artist Sean Damian Hill for blockbuster brawl with the fate of Krakoa at stake.
Oh, okay. Creative team sounds great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Bishop War College, strange name, but
that is
sounds
a
like
deep
a cool
team,
concept.
And for some reason, Wolverine and Beast are on the cover, even though they aren't listed anywhere.
Even though it's an all-black X-Men team, and you took 2 white characters and put them on the cover.
Right.
Great job, Marvel. You're really crushing it on the civil rights.
Right, yeah. Follow that up with the story we just had, and it's like, come on,
Jesus
guys.
Christ, Marvel, what are you guys doing?
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, Black Panther number 14, Blade Runner 2039 number 3, Bloodstained Teeth number 9, Daredevil number 8, Flash number 792, Ghost Rider number 11, Godzilla, Monsters and Protectors, All Hail the King number 5. That title is too long. Gotham City Year 1 number 5. How I Became a Shoplifter number 1. Interesting title. It's Only Teenage Wasteland number 3, Lazarus Planet Next Evolution one shot number 1, Miracle Man number 4, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur number 3, Poison Ivy number 9. I can't wait for more Poison Ivy. This series is incredible. Have you caught up on Poison Ivy?
I haven't, because I did what you did with Superman or Supergirl tomorrow, where I have the first 4, and I was like, yes, this is phenomenal. I need to add this to the pull. Forgot. Shit.
Oh, I thought you did put it on your pull. You didn't?
No,
Oh, bummer.
I meant to tell Jesse to throw it on the pull and never got it on there, and then I've been regretting it ever since. Because I was getting that I can't remember what artist it is, those covers that they were doing that were variants that were phenomenal.
Jen Bartel?
Yes. Yep.
Jen Bartel is one of my favorite cover artists. She's incredible.
Yeah.
I love everything that she does. She was doing Catwoman covers for a while. I was just buying. I started reading Catwoman because I started buying
the covers
books just because the covers were so gorgeous. I was like, I need to own that book, and I was like, oh, I might as well read it. Oh, this is good. I'm gonna pick it up. Yeah, it's great. And when they extended the run after the 6 issues, I was like, oh, can it keep being good? And yes,
it is holding up.
Yes,
nice.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have 1 through 4 sitting there that were great, but beyond that, I don't know. I'll find it sometime.
I'm sure there's got to be a trade coming out sometime soon, or maybe they're waiting until the next half of the run. They'll do the whole thing. Hey, Red Goblin number 1, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You number 120, Sonic the Hedgehog number 57. I just watched the movie Sonic the Hedgehog with my son tonight for the first time. It was great.
Nice.
It was really good. I legitimately laughed out loud. It was like a really good action comedy for like a kid to watch, like a 6-year-old kid to see. It was really good. Big fan.
That'll do it.
Star Wars Darth Vader number 31, Star Wars Hidden Empire number 3, Star Wars The High Republic number 5, Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants number 1, something I didn't know was happening at all.
Yep.
Sweetie Candy Vigilante. I think that's number 1. I forgot to put the number down, but that's a cool title. Sweetie Candy Vigilante. The Exiled number 1 and The Unbreakable Red Sonja number 3. Steve, here it is. We teased this big moment at the beginning of the episode. Everyone's clamoring to hear what we read this week. Steve, what'd you read?
About 10 issues of Something is Killing the Children and caught up to current state.
Even 28, the most recent one?
Was able to grab 28
I have
as
not
well.
read 28 yet, so don't spoil anything for me, but it's great. Isn't it awesome?
Yeah, it picked, there was a little like mini dip in there where it was kind of wallowing, like still good, but like we're kind of treading water, and then picked right back up.
Yeah, when they did her origin thing,
when
it was like a flashback, I was like, how long can they possibly sustain this? And I care.
Right.
And then they did it for like 2 or 3 issues, and then like that was
right
it.
back.
And then they just jumped in like, okay, now we're just gonna tell you a new story. And it's like, oh, okay, now I'm in. I'm back
in.
Yeah.
Yay. Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. They started up a new run. I believe the Lost Years.
Whoa. Sorry, I just knocked into my whole computer set up here. Everything's fine.
So I read the first issue of that. That's great.
Oh, good.
So following up on the 5-issue miniseries, I mean, mini trades, weird thing that took like 3 years to come out.
I know, yeah.
That this is a nice continuation of that story, following Mikey like before everything went down for the last run-in. So
cool.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
It seems solid. Number 2 for Children of the Black Sun just came out this week, and I grabbed that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you told me you picked that up.
The variant on that. So the first one grabbed my attention because it was something is killing the children variant. The second is looks a play on House of Slaughter.
Oh, cool.
So apparently Ablaze, like that imprint, utilizes a lot of homage covers.
Yeah,
and
clearly
like uses it to hook people, and it works because I saw it and I was like, oh, that looks like that thing I like. Let's try it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That must mean that it is like the thing that I like,
right.
So I'm going to like it. So therefore I will buy it.
Thankfully for this one, it was.
Nice.
And then finished up Immortal X-Men, the first trade of that.
Cool.
And I told you, I covered a lot of ground.
You did, yeah.
Caught up on Yoda. There's 3 issues of that. Caught up on High Republic, all 5 issues of that.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
So much reading.
There's a lot of reading this week. So yeah, we've caught up to speed on all but I think like Daredevil, Zdarsky's Daredevil, like the recent run, and Batman, which I haven't touched since issue 2 of the new run.
Oh geez, yeah, you gotta get into that.
Yeah, and I've heard things get wonky real quick. Like
it's great. It's a lot of fun. It's just not what I expected at all.
Right.
It's really good. The writing's good, but it's not what I expected. That's all I'll say.
Oh, and then Book of Slaughter came out. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either. Book of Slaughter?
Yeah. So it
in the Something is Killing the Children universe.
Yeah, Book of Slaughter number 1.
Huh. I hadn't even heard of it.
Yeah. So it's a collected on what the hell? I don't even know how to describe it, but I will grab it quick.
Huh.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. He's sliding his chair over to grab it, and he's bringing it back. Book of Slaughter with a white mask. Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a deluxe thing, too. It's more than just a regular floppy.
Yeah. So I'm curious. I mean, I thumbed through it, and I was like, I have not read this story yet, so it's got to be something new.
Oh, that's cool. Let me know if it's good.
There's actual prose in there and
like
stuff.
Like text and prose and stuff. Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe is it kind of just like a rundown of like the Order of St. George and all the different...
That's what I'm thinking.
That's cool.
So, either way, fun times.
Nice. Awesome.
Oh, hey, did you ever read that Berserker that Keanu Reeves did?
No, I never did.
I keep seeing it everywhere, and I've never heard anything, or like it's very well advertised.
Yeah,
I've never heard or like read
maybe because
about
an A-list celebrity is behind it. That might be why it's very well advertised. Right. Yeah.
Oh,
I feel like they like issue 1 came out and they immediately announced that it was like in development on like a Netflix series or something, and that made everybody, including me, think like, did you just do this so you could do a Netflix series based on, like, I don't know, like sometimes you get the vibe that people are only putting out comics in the hopes that they get turned into a series and not just because they like putting out comics, and so that kind of turned me off from it. But I haven't heard much about it or read it. No.
Also, with my son, to finish off the things I've read, hit up 3 and 4 of Scooby-Doo and Batman.
Nice. So are you on the newer run of it? Because there was like a run a year or two
current
ago.
12 issue.
Yeah.
So
you're in that.
I found the 2 back issues of 1 and 2 for this run.
Okay, cool.
And then
awesome.
had picked up 3 and 4, and I probably he's enjoying that enough that I'm probably throwing it on my pull list because.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, it's on mine. It's on mine also. Yeah, just so I can read them with my son. They're cool because they do they're good mysteries, but they also a lot of times they explore, and the first series kind of tackled here's who Nightwing is. Here's
Okay.
Here's Batgirl. Like, here's this villain. Here's it. Like, they kind of like bring you into the different corners of the Bat verse or whatever. And so they're still doing that with this series, but now they're like, okay, we already told you who Nightwing is. We already told you who Batwoman is or whatever. So now we have to tell you like who, the Batman of the Southwest is, of South America. They're like a little more deep cut, but still very good.
Yep.
I like it a lot. The only thing that I read recently, I started this week. For those of you, I don't know, new listeners or people who don't care about me other than nerd stuff, I'm a singer songwriter. I'm in a couple bands as well, and this is my 8th year doing a February songwriting challenge where I write and record 14 songs during the 28 days of February. So most of my week has been concentrated on that, and I haven't had too much time to read, but I was out of town this past weekend, and I started reading volume 5 of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing run, which I love to death. And it's one of those things, I do the same thing with Sandman, where there's like 10 volumes of the original Sandman run. I own probably 8 of them, and I've read 6 of them. So I still I keep buying the books, even though I haven't read them, because I know I want to read them. Yep. So I have the entirety of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing run, but I just haven't gotten through them all yet. So I just started issue 5.
Nice.
Or volume 5. And it continues to be exceptional, as it always is. And yeah, that's all I've been really reading lately. So nice. You definitely beat me this week as far as what you're...
Well, there were enough, light weeks for me that...
Yeah, you really had to make up. Yeah.
I've now picked up the pace and right there, so...
Yes. All right, so want to move on into one-shots?
Sure, why not?
All right, cool. I gave you the first one there.
Yeah, I'll kick it off. A show that I watched like 4 episodes of, and that was it. One of those that was fine. I liked it, but just never kept up on it because, 8,000 other things.
Sure.
But Pennyworth is officially canceled at HBO Max after season 3.
Womp womp.
Yep.
You mean Pennyworth, The Origins of Batman's Butler?
Yes.
The dumbass retitle that they gave it to hopefully
get more
people to watch it. Yeah.
That's
the official
great.
title for season 3 was Pennyworth, The Origins of Batman's Butler, or something like that. Like,
I feel like that would get less people to watch it.
We got to figure out a way to put Batman in the title so more people watch this show. I think that was their attempt to save it or whatever. Did you like the 4? I haven't seen any of this. Did you like the 4 episodes that you saw? You said you liked it, but it was good?
Yeah. It was fine. Like there was.
I've heard it was good. Yeah. I heard it was good. I just haven't watched it. And maybe I will still, knowing that it's only 3 seasons.
Right.
But I heard it was really good, like James Bondy kind of.
Yeah.
And you can't say it's a surprise that it's gotten canceled because I feel like it wasn't. I think the first 2 seasons were on like Epix or something. Yeah, it's not even like a major streamer, so I don't think a whole lot of people watched the first 2 seasons. Like probably less than even watched Titans and Doom Patrol, and both those got canceled. So it's not a huge surprise that I feel like it's getting canceled. But too bad. Speaking of shows, sorry, what? You're gonna say something?
No, I'm trying to think of. It wasn't Pennyworth that I watched. Oh, you know what? It was. What was the Gotham?
Gotham?
Other. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you said Epics, I'm like, no, there's no way I watched that. What the hell?
I know, yeah. I was like, does Steve have Epics?
Yeah.
How did he watch that?
What the fuck? What is Epics?
I mean, I think the first 2 were on HBO Max, so you could have watched them on HBO Max, I guess, by now.
No, I was way off. I was at a completely different show.
I was legitimately surprised that you watched 4 episodes of Pennyworth. Like, not like in a negative way. I was just like, oh my God, he watched the Alfred show?
Yeah. Nope. Not at all. Totally was Gotham.
I watched all but the last season of Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
And I might still go back to that someday, but probably not.
Yeah, it seemed fine.
A wild, insane.
Yeah,
the first 4 episodes seemed fine. Then it gets insane.
Yeah.
It became an absolutely laughably insane show, which I watched because it was so insane.
But not Doom Patrol insane.
Nah, well, in a different way. In like I can't believe you're doing this with these prestige characters that you have the ability to use, and you're doing this.
And this is what you got.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, speaking of prestige characters.
Oh, the absolute most A-list characters of shows that we knew was going to get a season 2. Like,
Absolutely.
undoubtedly knew. And, of course, I definitely remembered that this show existed.
I was going to say, I remembered that it had a season 1.
Hitmonkey just got a season 2 order at Hulu. Okay, so if you thought Steve and I were being serious about this, we were not. We don't remember anything about Hitmonkey. Neither of us have watched Hitmonkey.
Nope.
Hitmonkey's a Marvel character. Hulu made this deal with Marvel. They announced 4 shows, 2 of which actually went through. Hitmonkey and MODOK. MODOK got canceled after 1 season. Hitmonkey, I assumed, was going to be canceled after 1 season that I didn't think anybody watched, but no. It got a season 2 order. It's the last surviving Marvel show, although season 2 is not going to be branded as a Marvel show. It's just going to be under the 20th Century Studios, which is their like Fox imprint. Right. I don't know why they're doing that. This is a Marvel character. Why aren't you calling it a Marvel show?
Yeah, it's a Marvel character that debuted in a Deadpool comic.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe like it's, again, 1, I'm not familiar with the character of Hitmonkey. 2, I have not seen the show. So I don't know how much the show stuck to the original source material or not. Maybe it's like enough of a departure that they can be like, nah, this is just about a different monkey. So it's not a Marvel thing anymore. I don't know. It just seems weird that they would lose the Marvel branding at all. But apparently enough people watched it that they ordered season 2. And it was like a year ago that the first one came out. So it's been a long time. I don't know what. There's a lot of weirdness here. I don't know what's going on. But like you wait a year after the first one comes out to order a season 2. This is an animated thing. So like it's going to be another 2 years before we see it. Who cares?
Okay, so listen to this. His first appearance, this is actually phenomenal. In Deadpool 19, Spider-Man finds a local shop owner brutally murdered. Having seen Deadpool in New York earlier, Spider-Man suspects he's the killer and fights and catches him. Deadpool claims he has an alibi, and after examining the crime scene, says only one assassin could have pulled the job off so flawlessly. Hitmonkey. Which, I mean, this is the most Deadpool thing you can think of. Because Hitmonkey is known for killing other assassins, they realize that Deadpool is likely on Hitmonkey's hit list. Spider-Man reluctantly teams up with Deadpool to catch him.
Wow. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Adapt that. Make that a movie. Right. I want to watch that movie.
Yeah, that's got animated written all over it right there.
I want that to be an episode of Hitmonkey.
Yeah.
Is Spider-Man and Deadpool teaming up to kill Hitmonkey. That's what I want.
That's great.
Man, you tell me Deadpool 3 is Tom Holland's Spider-Man teaming up with Deadpool to kill a monkey? And that's the greatest movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's Deadpool 4 after the Wolverine one.
Oh, yeah, shit. We already know that that's not going to happen. Yeah, that's what I want for Deadpool 4 or the next Tom Holland Spider-Man movie.
No, even better. The sequel, we're going to rewind Logan, the prequel to Logan. Hitmonkey has been seen with the Howling Commandos when they help Old Man Logan rescue Jubilee from Dracula. Those are words that all came out of my mouth that were a sentence.
Hardcore into that. I am hardcore into that. I want more weird shit like that. Like we talked about how Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein are going to be in the DCU.
Yep.
Straight up, give me Dracula in Marvel Cinematic Universe. I want Blade to fight Dracula. I want Wolverine to save Jubilee from Dracula in an X-Men movie. That's what
Hitmonkey, Dum Dum Dugan, Old Man Logan rescuing Jubilee from Dracula. Like, what more do you need?
Comics. I love them.
Yep.
I love them. Anyway, Hitmonkey Season 2. Be on the lookout for that. It's coming at some point. I know you all were clamoring for Hitmonkey Season 2.
Yeah, just about as much as, what was it earlier that we were all clamoring for? The Ant-Man book.
Yeah, can't wait for that. I'll read the Ant-Man book while I'm watching Hitmonkey Season 2.
Well, now that we're done being facetious, something we actually are looking forward to. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which was supposed to come out in May, or March, because my M months are backwards, was supposed to come out March 17th. It has officially been pushed back to April. EA says that the game is content complete, but needs some extra time to take minor changes and adjustments before release. Which, in my brain, says that's fine as long as it's good.
Yeah.
Put it out whenever the hell you want.
Yep.
Like I miss studios pushing games because they weren't ready instead of like
Agreed.
hitting a date and then putting out like making you wait for DLC to make the game whole.
Yeah, exactly. Or like you have to update because they released the thing that fixed the thing that didn't work. Like, yeah, take your time. Like if you're gonna if there are enough little details and minor changes that you can make that's gonna make it an exceptional game versus just like a fine, okay, or good game, then yeah, take that time. Take an extra. It's a month. It's not even like they're pushing it back a year. Take a month, and I will still buy Jedi Survivor when it comes out in April and play the hell out of it.
Oh yeah. For our small video game corner, we have too, and for anyone who didn't realize, that is the direct sequel to Jedi Outcast.
Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order. Jedi Outcast was the sequel to Dark Forces Jedi Knight way back in the day. So I did name a Star Wars video game. However, it was the wrong one.
It's okay. Wasn't there some like content? It was like either a novel or a comic or something that bridges these two games.
I think so. I think there's a mini series or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was. Good old Cal Kestis.
Yep. Which the mocap guy, like, if they ever bring him into live action, like they used his actual model. It wasn't like he was mocap and.
Yeah, that actor. Speaking of Gotham, played the Joker in Gotham, the Gotham series.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Cameron Monaghan, I think is his name. No. Is that his name?
Yeah. So that sounds Irish enough. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure we've said this, but I'm sure we've said this before on an episode of this very podcast, but I can almost guarantee that dude is going to show up in
Ahsoka?
A Disney Plus show. Ahsoka, Mando season 3, somewhere. He is coming. Yep. He is coming. Skeleton Crew, whoever, whatever.
There you go.
We're going to see Cameron Monaghan as Cal Kestis in a show, and it's going to be a fandom surprise, and everyone's going to freak out, and everyone's going to be like, who's that? You didn't play the game.
No, what I was going to say was Spider-Man is, we know Spider-Man 2 is coming out this fall. Insomniac, I can't remember whether it was a tweet or something else. They alluded to the fact that Wolverine will be coming fall 24. So
really? That soon?
Yeah.
My God. I can't remember what it was, but I feel like I saw on Twitter, there was an update on the Wonder Woman game that was announced a year ago or so. Yeah. And I don't remember what the update was, but it made me I forgot. I was like, oh yeah, shit, they're making a Wonder Woman game. I cannot believe that. And I'm very excited about it. There's very little information about it, but I really hope that it's just God of War, but with Wonder Woman, and she's just fighting giant mythological monsters the whole time. That'd be fucking dope.
Yeah. So Insomniac's Wolverine officially quote unquote reportedly targeting fall 2024 release with mature rating. So I don't think how they could do a Wolverine game without a mature rating.
Nah.
That'd be like a non-rated R Deadpool movie.
I'm out of my mind excited for that Wolverine game, and I've just seen only the teaser, and I think I said this teaser. One when they. Sorry, what's that?
Just that teaser was enough.
That teaser, I think if you go back a year and a half or whenever when we talked about that teaser coming out, I guarantee you I said the same thing. But for some reason, just watching that teaser made me remember why I love the character of Wolverine so much. And if you take away all the Hugh Jackman of it and the movies and the oversaturation of that character, I don't need a not live action adaptation. I don't need old man, whatever. I don't need clones or whatever kind of crazy stuff that's happened in the books. Just give me just Wolverine without any fat on him, without any bullshit. I don't know. Just that teaser was just oh yeah, I love this guy.
Yeah.
I forgot how much I loved him because of the oversaturation of that character. But I am pumped to see more about that game and play that game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be
2 years from now.
It's going to be good.
Can't wait. Speaking of things that I guess were going to be good the whole time, and I didn't believe it. But now here we are.
Well, we still don't know if it's actually good. Just like the
I've
first
heard-
one, it wasn't good.
I've heard mixed things.
I've heard it was
I
a great
haven't-
nature documentary.
Yeah. I haven't seen it. I think I know one person that has seen it.
The same
And
person
yet-
is the only person I know that's seen it.
Yeah. Shout out to our friend Matt Peseda.
Yeah. That's the only person I know that has seen
Only
it.
person I know that has seen this movie, and yet Avatar 2, The Way of Water, is now somehow the 4th highest grossing movie of all time, and I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, the answer is that people just love the Avatar movies more than I ever thought possible.
Well, and I think I would also be very curious as to, like we had the running joke with the original Avatar that, it's
Only anyone's ever
anybody's
seen it one time. Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
Like I would be very curious if the follow-up, once it's out of theaters and onto some streaming service, if anybody's watching it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the original Avatar was an experience in the theater.
Yeah.
This, I've heard, is an experience in the theater.
I don't think I'm going to see it in the theater. Like, I just don't want to. I don't know. I just don't have
I'm
the
torn because
drive to see it.
I know I should see it in the theater because that's
Same.
how it's intended to be seen.
Yep.
But I also don't have 3 hours
just
of my
don't-
life
I
to
just don't-
throw
I just
at
don't want
that.
to.
Yeah.
I
Like,
just don't want to.
Maybe if
It's
my
hard.
kid was older and he could go and like we could make it a thing, but
Yeah.
no.
I just don't have the energy. I would see a 3-hour movie about something else. I don't know. In the
Yeah, we
theater.
did. It was called Endgame.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? We're talking about doing commentaries. All right, we should do a commentary for Avatar 2: The Way of Water, but wait until it's on streaming.
There you go.
And our first viewing of it, we'll do a commentary on the first time we're watching it. So we'll just talk over a movie we haven't seen.
I mean, part of me thinks this isn't a bad idea to run
I don't think
these,
it's a
like,
bad idea either.
these
I'm in.
commentaries. All right.
But especially on movies we haven't seen, I think is a good idea.
The fuck
These
is
long
that?
stretches where we don't say anything because
Yeah.
we're just like invested. Yeah. That's an undertaking too. That's a 3-hour movie. That's a
Oh, yeah.
long commentary.
Yeah.
So man, shout out to the 2 people that listened to that while watching Avatar: The Way of Water in the future.
So of note, though, it's 4th place all time. 2 of the other spots are James Cameron,
I know
which is
Yeah.
insane. The man just prints
he's got
winners.
3 of the 4 highest grossing movies of all time.
Yeah.
3 out of 5. It's insane. It's insane. And I wish I had more like commentary for this. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And I don't know that I ever will understand it.
I don't get most Cameron movies and why there's the hype. Like,
I mean, I
Since
think he's a
T2.
good filmmaker. I think he's a good filmmaker. I like a lot of his movies, and I understand that. I understand why a lot of them are very popular, but I don't understand why.
but
the Avatar movies are as popular.
we can mention all of his movies in like 3 seconds. It's
Yeah.
Piranha 2: The Spawning, because why not?
Which I haven't seen. Haven't seen that one.
Of all people, you would be the person. All right,
Yeah.
Pawinski better have seen that movie.
I'm sure Dave Pawinski has. Yeah,
Terminator, Aliens,
great.
Win
great.
Win, The
2
Abyss,
bangers. What was that one?
The Abyss,
Yeah. Oh yeah, Abyss is a great movie too. Yeah,
T2,
banger.
True Lies,
Yep. Classic.
Titanic,
Classic.
yep,
But
Avatar,
also, yeah.
Avatar. Like that's the only
It's
movie
wild
he's
that he
ever
hasn't
done.
made a movie since Avatar, and
Yeah.
it's been 13 years, and he made the sequel, and it's the highest grossing movie of all time. I don't understand how that's possible. I just don't understand how
No,
it's possible.
his last 3 movies that he's made have been 1,
Have been
3,
the
and 4,
3 highest grossing movies of all time.
and one of them was made more than 2 decades ago.
Oh, I don't get it. I mean, God bless James Cameron, I guess. Like, he's clearly got the juice. He knows something.
Yeah.
He knows something that I don't know. And I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be, like, who's going to catch that? I feel like at some point, I mean, I don't know. I was going to say, like, I'm trying to think of someone else that can crack into that top 4. And my first thought was Marvel, but like, I don't know if the hype is there. Not anytime soon. The hype's not there for Marvel right now.
Right.
Maybe by the time we get to Secret Wars, if they do everything right up until then,
and that's a
maybe
big if.
Secret Wars gets there. But like, that's the only thing in sight, I think, unless some crazy random thing happened. Like Avatar was like a random thing where I don't understand how Avatar made that much money. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I also don't understand how the sequel made that much money. So like, I don't know, whatever. Maybe The Flash is just a wild success and becomes the third highest grossing movie of all time.
Right. It's going to have to be something, out of the blue.
Yeah. Yeah. Until Avatar 3 comes out, I guess.
Right.
Because there's no way they're not making all 5 of those movies right now.
Right.
If the second one can come out 15 years later and still be the fourth highest grossing movie of all time,
yeah,
they're making all 5 of those movies. That is a green light on all 5 Avatar sequels.
Yeah, unless he doesn't want to, then yeah.
Well, like months ago, he was saying like, well, if I get to make the 4th one, then great. If I don't, then I'll just make the 3 because the 3rd one's almost done or whatever.
Right.
But now they're 100% making all 5 of those. If they can make 3 Fantastic Beasts movies that keep bombing at the box office and they keep making them, they're going to make 5 Avatar movies. Like if the 5th Avatar movie makes $500 million, then they'll be happy. Who cares?
Yeah. No.
Anyway,
here we are.
Here we are in an Avatar world, and I don't understand it.
Yep. It's the Navi's world. We're just living in it.
We're just living in it. Yep.
One thing I realized is we've, we're at an hour and a half, and we still haven't even talked about Last of Us or Bad Batch.
Oh, geez, yeah, we're bad about episode recaps lately. I haven't watched. I haven't watched tonight's Last of Us, obviously.
Same, yeah.
And we shouted out.
I don't know where they could go after last week, so I almost don't want to watch it. Like that was.
They just go back to the. Yeah. I mean, they just go back to the Joel and Ellie story, obviously.
Which they did tie into episode 3 very, very well.
Oh, it was great.
Like,
I loved it.
Bookends was perfect.
I mean, we said it we gave it a shout out on the James Gunn recap episode, how it was one of the greatest episodes of television we've ever seen, and that still is the case.
Yeah,
still the case.
Yeah, even a week after watching it, I'm just like,
yeah,
I still keep thinking back to it, like that was really good.
Yeah.
So
I might be behind on the Bad Batch. What was the most recent Bad Batch episode?
It involved lightsabers.
Or
a lightsaber
with Gunji the Wookiee. Yeah, no, I haven't seen that one yet. I haven't seen it yet. Sorry.
Yep. So that's it. It was fun.
Last time I saw the one was the one before that, which I thought was like just a
filler. Yeah.
Like I don't care about this.
Well, you came down off of episode 3 for that, where it was like
Well, no, episode 4 was like the race one with Teo. I liked that, and that was fun. Yep. That was good enough to keep me invested. But the other one, I was like, I'm kind of checked out on this. I don't really get why I care about this.
Yeah, that was the heist on the
planet. And that felt kind of like a season 1 episode, because like a lot of season 1, I was like, okay, it's
pretty
fine, but I'm not invested, and that's kind of what the last episode felt like. But
Gunji will get you back into it.
I'm sure that it will. I'm sure he will. I'm very excited about that. So I'll watch it. Maybe we'll talk about that next week.
There we go.
And I'll watch Last of Us, and we'll maybe talk about that next week.
Right.
I feel like when we haven't done official, I mean, so far this year, we haven't done any official like separate show recaps. I feel like we probably should start that when Mando season 3 hits. We'll do like separate.
And it isn't the awkward same time that we record dropping. So
yes, exactly.
I think that's the only reason we're not covering Last of Us separately.
Right. When it's Last of Us or House of the Dragon, that's tough when it's the same night that we usually record. So, but we'll get back into it with Mando season 3, March 1st. But until then, I don't know. That's all I got. Steve, you got anything else?
No, I think that's it. Feel free to subscribe, give us a mention on the socials at the Multiverse Report, Multiverse RPT on Twitter. If you want to check out the website, multiversereport.com. If you want to send us an email, themultiversereport@gmail.com. It's funny how it's all the same things on all these places.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and subscribe, leave us a review. We're here.
Yeah, let us know if you're buying that Ant-Man book. We need to know why. We need to know why. Also, if you saw Avatar 2, let us know why. We need to know why. And that is all. So until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the multiverse.